Hey guys, Nicholas Hopper here with All American Manufacturing Canvas Works. I'm going to do some short videos on who we are, what we do, and the type of sewing machines that we use in our shop. And I say we is because, like every small business, every entrepreneur, there's always somebody behind the scenes that supports them along the way. And in my case, it happens to be my wife. Without her support in this last 10 plus years of this hobby slash business, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, so thank you. With that, we're going to move on to the type of machines that we use here in the shop. Like any small business, I got my start in a tiny one-car garage. Decided to pick up a sewing machine to help out a buddy, and the rest is history. So fast forward, 12 years, I'm still in a shop. It's a little bit bigger, but still kind of contained to a corner, as space doesn't warrant me to be able to take up the rest of it. But as time goes, I'll be able to expand and hopefully do more with what I'm doing here. So currently I have space for 3 machines to be in operation at a time in my shop. They're kind of interchangeable in what I can do with them, except one of them, which I will talk about today, is kind of my all-in-one. If there's oddball things that I'm doing where I need to make adjustments to my standard stitch length or what type of thread I'm using, it's kind of my go-to because it's easy, it's newer, and to use versus the rest of my vintage industrial machines. But so the very first machine we're going to talk about today, though, is not in use anymore. It's kind of been relegated to the bookshelf. It was considered a industrial for its type, but it's far from what I'm using today. I definitely put a lot of canvas underneath it, used it well outside of what it was designed for, but it was cheap. It was my first machine, and it really did a good job early on in my production back in 2008, 2009. So this was my very first machine. It's a BV model, Nichi or Neki. I'm not really sure how it is pronounced. Made in Italy. I think it was late 50s, maybe really early 60s, if I remember correctly, before the brand was moved to Japan and produced there. There's not a lot of information on the BV models. I do know it was considered an industrial, but the problem with it is it's not a walking foot like what you would consider with most industrial machines. And so that was the number one problem, is it just wasn't capable of what I needed it to do. Though I made it work, but it was well outside the specs of what it should do. But it bought me some time to do some research, start learning about other machines, and it did well. This was my first true industrial sewing machine, a Consew 206 RB-5. Newer, I'm not really sure how old it is, but this design or model's been around for a very long time. It came to me in about 2010. Again, another local find from a company that was downsizing. Super cheap compared to what they were going for at the time, and so I was pretty excited to finally have a true industrial machine that could do everything that I needed to do. The nice thing with this brand, they've been around for a long time. The design has been there for a long time. You'll see some similarities to one of the vintage Singers to the design that these are. Similar to the Singer 111 series, the 111 W155 is very similar to it. Comes with, you can find so much additional types of feet for what it can do, from piping to zippers to you name it. It's there, it's available. Nice thing with this is what it's called as a compound walking foot, where the needle and feet all move together to slide the material through as the needle comes down and moves back. And so that really gives you good consistent stitching. It's quick and easy to adjust stitch length. Just a turn of the knob will take you up to almost zero movement, up to 2.5 stitch per inch. Kind of give you an idea what we have there. That long one is about 2.5 stitches per inch, and the short guy, or the little guy over there, is about 7 stitches per inch. So you can see this has reverse built into it. almost all your new machines have it now. Where you're going to see later on in our videos that the vintage machines, up until the 50s, did not have reverse. And so that's something else we'll discuss, is how to finish your stitch length, or what's called back tacking, on vintage machines. So that's going to cover it today for this video on the sewing machines. Next video we're going to talk about is my first true vintage industrial sewing machine, the 144W 304, a Singer. It's a 30-inch long arm industrial. It's kind of my pride and joy. It does pretty much 90% of the work in the shop. And I really truly enjoy using it. It's a beast of a machine, but it'll pretty much sew through anything that you put underneath it, and it operates smoothly, and I really enjoy using it. So that was my next purchase, that machine was, and then we'll move on to the last two machines that are in the shop. So thanks for checking us out. Stay tuned for more.